Welcome back to Market Day Report. Tommy Grisafi sitting in for my good friend Tony St. James. Well, we got some exciting news here in the markets. A lot of price volatility here, and I think for the most part, people will be excited. Now it's Valentine's Day. Let's see if I can get you some sweet quotes. We'll get right to the corn market. Let's look at corn first here. On the first segment, Brian and I talked about how the market does what it does at night, and then that invisible hand comes in and buys it on the open. Happened again today. March corn, 4.98 and a quarter, up 4 3/4, 5 cents, battling that $5 mark. Looking at July corn, 5.12 and 3/4. Nice to see a 5 in the old crop, up 3 3/4, going all the way down to Dees, 4.74. Now that's interesting. Look at that tight range in Dees, 4.74 and a half to 4.72. Not quite the price action that you're getting in front. So if you looked at a quote, or like we look at quotes, you'd look at March Dees corn spreads, the front end definitely leading as those funds continue probably to add to their longs. We'll find out more about that after the close. March soybeans, 10.41, up 11 and a quarter. Looking out the soybeans as we go out through the year, is it worth carrying soybeans to July? Well, that's something we need to talk about. 10.72, up 9 cents. July soybeans cost a lot of money to store this grain throughout the year. Let's go to wheat. We have a story here. First, we go to Chicago. Chicago Board of Trade wheat, 5.95 and a quarter, up 17 and a half. Interesting day in the wheat complex. I think Brian did a great job on the first segment talking about what's going on as Russia may no longer flood the market with cheap wheat. Hard red wheat, March, 6.17 and a quarter, up 19 cents. Been a long time since we could say, oh, a lot of the wheats are up close to 20 cents. Going out to Dees, 666. Oh, that number scares me, up 16 3/4. A lot of sixes there. Let's be careful with that. Now we'll go up to North Dakota, Minnesota, and Canada. Let's talk spring wheat, that wheat we use for pizza dough and bagels and all the other good stuff. March spring wheat, 6.31 and 3/4. Last but not least, we'll go to cotton. Cotton, a lot of 67, handle 68. Not the best price action. Again, we talked earlier, betting that corn buys some acres. Let's bring them back in. If you liked them at 8.15, you're going to love them on the 8.45 version. Mr. Brian Hoops, we got about a minute and a half. Stage is yours, sir.
We didn't mention this morning there was another corn sale, 100,000 metric tons to Colombia this morning, and we're seeing new highs made in some of those deferred contracts. The May, July, December contracts all making new highs for the move. March is not. That may have to do with first notice day at the end of the month. Funds are heavily long. A lot of those longs in the March contract probably rolling out of some of those, putting some selling pressure against March, buying the deferred contracts like May or July. Soybeans just pretty much a follower here without a lot of news, and wheat's the upside leader. We talked about maybe some fundamental reasons why wheat is higher, but the funds are holding big shorts in the wheat market yet. They're out of their shorts in soybeans. They're holding big longs in corn, but still those shorts in wheat are vulnerable to some short covering as we've been seeing here in the last couple of days. So no matter what the reason, they're in there buying this morning aggressively, lifting the entire grain complex to some nice solid gains during the day.
Yep, and it started to notice chatter on the X-Sphere a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, about people who like to speculate being long wheat, short corn. Even though corn's done really well, wheat's done a little better. Is that correct?
Yeah, recently, the spreads between corn and wheat really have done some massive changes. I think up till yesterday, there was a 30-cent move, and then you add in today another, 15 cents or so. There's some big money being exchanged in the wheat corn spreads. Corn soybean spreads getting a lot of attention, especially those new crop spreads. This is one of the narrowest that we've seen, with corn really outgaining new crop soybeans here recently. And that's why we alluded to a lot of acres intending to be planted this year to the corn market.
Stay right there, Mr. Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions. He is El Presidente, as Dave Portnoy would say. We're going to be back with Market Day Report right after we take this break. Welcome back to Market Day Report. Tommy Grisafi sitting in for my friend Tony St. James. Let's talk cattle. The markets are now open. We have some exciting price action here. I know we started higher. It's not where we are right now. Feb live cattle, 198.67. Down 87. They were up earlier. June live cattle, 191.57. Let's go right to the feeders. A lot of risk here in these markets, a lot of dollars as we produce that beef. March feeders, 267.30, down 67. Looking at the May, 265.62, down 67. Going all the way out to Sep feeders, 266. A lot of similar prices here in the feeder market. Lean hogs, let's look at those hogs. How are they doing? I have a few friends who spread cattle against hogs, but we call them crazy for doing that. We'll see. Lean hogs, fed lean hogs, 89.60, up 22, going out to June, 105.67, up 40. Let's bring them back in. Brian, I want to touch on something that you had said at 8:15. Not a lot of independent hog producers. They're still out there, but what's changed in the hog market since you became a broker many years ago?
Yeah, you go back 30 years ago, I was a banker and we were loaning money to guys that were raising hogs, feral to finish, or just finishing out feeder pigs. That really has changed as a lot of those producers have kind of gotten either out of the business completely or they've switched to contract with IBP or Tyson or some entity to raise hogs on a contract basis. It's removed a lot of risk for those producers. It's provided a steady income. They just are not those independent contractors that they once were at one time, where they assumed all the risks. So it's more of a custom type hog operations, and they just don't need that hedging part of the equation any longer because they don't own the hogs. It's someone else, a big company that's owning them. So things have really changed in that respect. A lot of the hogs right now are hedged by the big companies, or it's all speculative type trading. They got away with the pork belly market many years ago, and now the hogs have kind of taken its place as a wild speculative type marketplace that's really traded very technically and ignored a lot of the fundamentals for a large part.
Yeah, when you say pork bellies, I can't help but think of the movie Trading Places and Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd and everyone.
Love
All right,
that
Brian,
movie.
thanks for jumping back on with us.
Absolutely.
Mr. Brian Hoops coming to us with that interesting perspective on what happened with independent hog producers. All right, Suzanne.
Good stuff. He's putting in some hours for you. You guys work
Good looking
together.
and smart. Not something you always see in commodity brokers, but he has both of those. So.
And I'm going to throw that to you as well. You can take a compliment.
You're making me blush on Valentine's
Your wife
Day.
is listening
Thanks,
again.
Suzanne.
She's kind of shaking her head at this point.